In normal life, I'm a therapist, and anime has always been something that deeply moves me and pushes me to do more with my own life. As a budding professional, I want to explore those feelings a bit further and look at the ideas and themes I see in anime that remind me of therapeutic concepts and interventions I use in my everyday practice. While anything I cover can't really be used as a replacement for therapy, I do hope to show y'all that there might be more to take from some of the shows that you might like. And today, the anime that we're going to be looking at is Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead, and how it evokes the ideas from motivational interviewing and existential psychology. Just a forewarning, this will contain spoilers for Zom 100. And with that out of the way, let's get into things. The feelings that Psalm 100 captures is that of freedom, change, and taking back your life. This mixture of uplifting feelings reminds me of the feelings that therapists might try to inspire in their clients through motivational interviewing. Motivational interviewing is a therapeutic approach designed to help someone identify their goals, values, and their obstacles, and start mapping out a path towards positive change. If breaking free and finding a new lease on life is the goal here, then motivational interviewing is what helps us find the method to get there. If Akira was a client, I kind of imagined that his current state of loving life and wanting to live it to the fullest would be the end goal of therapy that would be working towards. Akira is able to speed through this whole therapeutic process by being thrown into an environment where that instantly allows him to escape his nightmare situation. While being absent in Akira's case, the process of finding hope and invoking that spark in someone to work towards change is one of, if not the goal of motivational interviewing. While he is thrown into a nightmarish hellscape, this is the end goal for Akira one way or another, and he sets out to enjoy his life to the fullest while he still has the opportunity to do so. While motivational interviewing can be a complex process that is only part of someone's therapeutic journey, what I found Zom 100 asking was a pretty big part of the start of motivational interviewing, which is the golden question, or the miracle question, whichever one you want to call it. This question, regardless of what you call it, asks something along the lines of, you could wake up tomorrow and everything in your life was better. What would that look like? This question compels someone to explore their desires and set the goals to achieve them. It also gets them to consider what barriers may be stopping them from achieving those goals. In Akira's case, the job that he felt the need to continue to participate in was his biggest obstacle to happiness. His answer to the golden question was escaping that work life and doing what made him feel happy. Akira faces an extraordinary circumstance, as hoping a zombie apocalypse happens isn't really a realistic goal for anyone in the real world. Despite this, his realization and change of move does highlight his overwhelming desire to break free from his toxic work environment. Akira is unique because he does not act to get himself out of his situation. Instead, he makes the best of an awful situation and uses it as a springboard to escape his old reality and focus on what he can do in the new one. And while Akira's situation is pure fantasy, it does reflect how sometimes it could feel like the only way to escape a dark time is for something drastic and unfathomable to happen. That's where the miracle question leaves us. At the endgame of a miraculous situation, by identifying what our ideal life might look like, we can start identifying the steps to take to get there. Sure, living in the zombie apocalypse isn't Akira's ideal situation or what he might have envisioned, but he doesn't let that stop him, and I think that's what's important. To try and live the life that you want to live in the situation that you've been given. And I recognize that life is hard. Even if we have the drive, the motivation, we don't always have the opportunity to make those choices that might be good for us. And I think that's where we start dipping into another aspect of this show that I wanted to talk about, which is existential psychology. Existential psychology is a whole approach to therapy where the focus becomes finding meaning in life and trying to get the most out of it. From an existential standpoint, when one fails to find meaning in their life or feels significant as a person, that's where we start seeing existential dread and existential anxiety, which just end up leading to further poor mental health. We see this illustrated by Akira as he initially tries to subscribe meaning to his work and his life, and it just slowly fades away until nothing is left but this crestfallen husk of a person. And I don't know about y'all, but I've definitely had moments in my life, usually birthdays, where I just look at the clock and realize that, oh my gosh, so much time has passed. Is this really what I'm doing with my life? Am I where I want to be? Am I really gonna try making anime therapy videos? You know, just things that we all go through in life. I'm getting a little bit off track. The point being that sometimes when we don't have direction in life or when we start to feel stagnant, things can go south really fast. Looking back to Akira, his whole life motto becomes that life is too short, and he sets out to make the most out of his life while he still can. He does so by making his titular bucket list of the dead, which are all things that he wants to do before he becomes a zombie. This act of setting goals and pursuing them is an example of self determination, which is another core idea in existential psychology, which is all about having agency and taking control of your own choices. While the circumstances of life don't always grant us the freedom to make such choices, Psalm 100 does showcase the happiness and freedom that there is to be experienced when we're able to take control of our lives back, regardless of how we get there. Life is all too fleeting, and it's worth doing the things that make you feel alive and happy when you have the opportunity to do so. And I'm not saying to go do something grand like quit your job or start a whole new career path, but that sometimes it's really the small things that make life all that more meaningful and worth it. Psalm 100 shows how one can find joy even in the midst of chaos. Akira's journey, although set against the backdrop of a zombie infested world, serves as a reminder to cherish and make the most of life. Akira's way of battling existential dread is to go out and live the life that he's always wanted to do the things that he finds meaning in. And it makes me want to do stuff that I find meaning in, such as making a YouTube video about connecting two of my passions. Akira will continue on his path to carry out his bucket list. Along the way, just like in real life, I'm sure things won't always go as expected. After so much planning the ideal path and trying to find meaning in everything, it can feel unfair that things go off course. But that's okay, because for better or for worse, that's life. When life throws curveballs, like a shitty job or the zombie apocalypse, all hope isn't lost. You have the ability to look at the different pieces of your life and try to make today better than it was yesterday. To do things that you find meaning in, no matter how monumentous or how small they may be. To identify what you really want out of life and to take the steps to get there. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. This is my first video, so I'd love to hear from anyone that this may have reached. Love to hear any goals that people are working on, or if you'd like, maybe try to answer the golden question for yourself. And please let me know if you have any recommendations for anime that you found particularly emotional or inspiring for you. This has been Papa Kuma, and thanks for stopping by.